Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 90 of the Showbound podcast. I'm your host, Michael Raskin, here as always with Ethan Cardwell. Cards, how's it going, man?
It's good. Just seems like the weeks are kind of just all molding into one right now at this time of year. I think everybody's just so excited for like the Christmas break and everything like that. That like time, I don't know. I feel like I've lost track of the last few weeks and everything's just kind of come. And I'm like, holy crap, I need to start Christmas shopping because I haven't even thought about it. And here we are, about 2 weeks away from Christmas. It's wild.
Yeah, so we're in our Christmas break now in U Sports, so
And
I
you,
was feeling like that until this week, and now I actually had a couple days free. We still practice, but no games, so I had a couple more like hours free and days to get the Christmas shopping done, do stuff like that, be a little more relaxed. So things are good on this side of it. So you're almost there. Keep grinding away.
yeah, it's like it's actually like it's the hardest time of year I think for players to like stay dialed, and like that's like a big thing like mentally for players. Like it's like considered like the dog days almost. Like you're kind of you're nearing that halfway point of the year. Guys are getting sick. You've been through it all now, and it's like you see that little break in the future, but you can't let yourself get ahead of like things, and you just got to stay present and like try to win all these games because these are games like that are crucial. And we'll talk about Brock. I mean, like you guys won three in a row to finish up and like put yourself in a great spot going into the break, and that's what people don't realize. Like these teams, like you can catch them sleeping on these nights, and like it can really advance you up the standings and kind of set you up for a big second half.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I think we've referenced it in earlier episodes like a long time ago, maybe even at this point in the year last year. But you're right. Like how many more do you have one more weekend of games before the break for you?
Oh man, we have 7 games in like 11 days coming up to the break. It's crazy.
Okay. That's a lot. That's a that's a pretty hard schedule, man. But
Yeah.
at least like what's good for you, obviously, like you're not far from home necessarily. Like there's guys that are so far from home and it's got to be even harder for them at this time too. Um, but I definitely hear what you're saying. So, I mean, we can get into the Brock games and stuff like you said in a bit, but you guys had 3 games this past weekend as well. And do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, like it wasn't great. Like we had a good, like tough like schedule. I mean, Owen Sounds like got those young forwards on their team that just keep producing. So they got out to an early lead on us then, and then we were just playing catch up that game, and then we go to Windsor. Um, and really, we didn't play a horrible hockey game. Just again, get behind, and then we're chasing the game 3-1. Um, and then you're clawing back, and it just we felt too late, and then I finally felt like we were better on Sunday. Like we won a good game in Sarnia, Teddy Bear Toss, packed crowd. It would have been an easy game for us to kind of just like lose focus and just like let one slip away. But that was a big game for us to kind of like halt the losing streak and just say, okay, no, we got to start going the other way. And that's why I mentioned how crucial these next 7 are, because like you get hot for 11 days and all of a sudden you find yourself on a nice heater going into the break. But it can also go the other way. So you gotta really bear down at this time. But I want to hear it. Like I know you guys played so well. Like I know you were fired up. So I want to hear about it. And you're just a quick showbound bump for you, back to number 10 in the country.
Yeah, we're in the top 10 again. And I want to go. We're gonna go back into your stuff in a bit. I have a little video segment for us to react to that, including your penalty shot goal and stuff that we're gonna queue up. So if you're listening right now, go to the YouTube, and in a bit we're gonna react to some videos and stuff. But yeah, our weekend, yeah, we had 3 wins in 3 games in 4 nights. We played Guelph twice. All your boys are on Guelph, and York once. So we beat York, and then the Guelph game on the road went to overtime, and we won in overtime there. And then we played Guelph again at home, and that one was like a pretty crazy one. Guelph was just like I think they had 9 penalties maybe, or we had like 7 power plays. So um, we were taking, and our power play was clicking, so we won like 7-2 or something. And yeah, put us into the top 10 in the country again, which is obviously really nice. But we were we were buzzing, and there was honestly like get into some of these one of these clips before the Guelph game. Let me share my screen, and this is what we'll do. I think I need to also share audio though. So let's see. Share sound. Okay. So this is the first clip. This is before our our last game of the weekend against Guelph. So the second one against Guelph. And this is Matt O'Brien on our team. He's a guy who's been like in and out of the lineup, and he got to do the lineup read before the game. So I want you to see this and react to this one. Because this was like maybe the best starting lineup read I've ever seen in my life.
It's time! Sunday, 2 p.m. Canada Game Park. Let's fucking go! Yeah! Starting down the pipe, we got number 27, and on the left, El Capitano, number 26, Jared Marino.
Give me Ryan Reed vibes.
The best looking man in the OUA, number 10, Grubby. On the back end, coming from Quebec, number 55, Oli Desrochers. Partner, number 25, all the way down from Sault Ste. Marie. Couple parlays on the go. Number 25, Zach. We got 29! Mario!
So like
That's good stuff, man. That's actually
yeah,
like
how are you not gonna win that game when you start that hot before, you know?
no, that's unreal. I just saw a video the other day of Ryan Reeves like doing the starting lineup and stuff, and that's like very similar. Like he goes,
Yeah, he said he was in the washroom that morning, and the video of Reeves came up on his phone. I don't even think he knew he was in the lineup at that point, and then he ends up getting picked to do because we pick randomly, like we give the person the
that's funny.
right? So he ended up just doing that, and he scored his first OUA goal that night. So what a night for him.
So yeah, must have been juiced up after that. I actually love doing it, man. Like when I get the nod to starting, I love it. I feel like it's just like it's such an opportunity. Like it's goofy. Like you can mess around with it a little bit, get the boys laughing, get them excited. But it's such an opportunity to like take and like get everyone going rather than a coach just kind of coming in and being like, yeah, we got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Like get the boys going, get the blood flowing. You're only 5 minutes out from puck drop anyway, so you might as well get it going, you know?
Yeah, like Dan Bilesman knows how to do that as a coach.
Speaking of Bilesma, Delpy.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Zach Dolpe gets the call up to the NHL and scores against the Winnipeg Jets. So now he said it on our podcast that like he wants to be that guy, even though he's the captain and he's slotted in the A, that he's not that guy who's like pissed off or whatever. He wants to be the hardest working guy to earn it. So he earns it, gets the goal, might earn another game, and so he's played 14 years professionally, almost all in the AHL, some in the NHL, but 12 of the 14 he's had NHL games. So he's
Incredible.
like honestly, like you can't put him down and keep him there. Like the guy's gonna work his way back up. So good for him. Shout out Dolphs. I texted him. It was late. It was like 1 a.m. and he responded right away. So that was super nice.
Yeah, man. I woke up, I was just swiping through because every morning, like I'll turn on my TV and my billet's gone. They have the Fire Stick, so I got like the NHL app on it. So I'm always looking at like who got the goals and stuff, and I'm sliding, just going through quickly. I'm like, yep. And then I see a goal number 1. So I'm like, I always look at those. I'm like, holy shit, it's Delps. I go, first off, I didn't even know he was called up. Second off, that's incredible. He's scoring. So and that like instantly came back to my head when he was like, we were like, oh, so like you're slotted in the A this year for the whole year, and he's like, no, like obviously that's my position. I'm the captain, but like at the end of the day, I want to get that call. And that just goes to show like every single person out there and listening to this who still plays the game, like don't give up on anything just because you're put somewhere, just because you're given a tag on a certain thing, the way you play, kind of where you slot in the lineup, where you slot in the minors, like anything like that. Don't take that. Just kind of like do your best, and he's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, no, that's very well said by you. So Dolphs is the man. We'll get him back on at some point too. He's a beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Going back into our games, one more video to react to before we go into your game stuff. I forgot to mention this in the first Guelph game, the one that went to overtime. There was you might have you seen this clip of like
I've seen this. I've seen the whole thing.
yeah,
I think it's hilarious.
I'm gonna share it for our viewers to see. I think it's awesome. So, um, let me make sure we're sharing sound. We are
And
okay.
let's do it. Let's do a quick little breakdown of what's going on here for the people who are just listening on audio, right? So
Okay, yeah.
basically what happens is Liam Ham, defenseman for the Guelph Griffins, scores a goal in the game and breaks out the violin, Sally. And I'll let you pick it up from there because you know the better.
Yeah, so Liam Ham does the violin sally on their goal to put them ahead 3-2 in the third period. So, a timely big goal from him on the power play. And then the game ends up going to overtime. And our guy, Justin Brack, who, funny enough, played with Liam Ham for the Niagara Ice Dogs, um, ends up breaking out the violin sally end to end, all the way down the ice, staring at their bench. And then the broadcaster, as you'll hear in this video, just like, he just says it perfectly, like the way it's announced. So I'll play it right here.
Liam Ham, he'll sling one on, and he scores! And he can play the violin all he wants. Justin Brack ends this game in favor of the Brock Badgers. As you can tell, this Guelph Griffins squad is absolutely upset. Justin Brack gives the same celebration as Liam Ham did after his 3-2 goal, but this game will go down.
So that was just hilarious. Like,
yeah, I saw that. I was actually scrolling on. You posted that on TikTok, eh? Like, I don't know, you don't run it, but like Brock. And I'm sitting in bed. I'm just scrolling through. I'm like, what? Brock Badgers men's hockey on my TikTok, and then sure enough, was that video. So that
was me who posted that one too. And actually, funny enough, we had a video. I don't know if you saw it of Rochi. It went kind of viral. It has like 380,000 views. It was just we have a tradition where like we have a sword and we hammer in the game puck into the sword. Whoever gets the game puck on the team, and it was Rochi. It's just a video of him like hammering it in, and has 380,000 views on TikTok.
That's odd, but I like that tradition. I saw that also on your guys' page. I like that. Like, I think it's pretty cool when you make a point of every win rather than like at the end of the season you say like, oh yeah, we had 40 wins, and you don't really remember them all. But like, I feel like that way you nail in the puck. And I've played on other teams. I think it was in Trenton where we'd keep every game puck and we had it like in a wall where we'd collect all the game pucks, and like, so then you're like, oh wow, like we've actually accomplished a lot more than you think, like, and it's a good recognition for the guys, because I do feel like as much as it's business, okay, we win, move on to the next, you should celebrate and like understand that winning each night is a victory in itself. So you have to be happy with that,
Yeah, and especially in our shorter season of like 27 games, the wins matter, because honestly, like 2 points in a 27 game season separate, like at the end of the season when it's really tight, like those wins mean a lot. So it's fun, and the vibes in the room like are unbelievable after when guys are throwing the hammer around going crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's almost like for you guys, it's basically every night's playoffs. Like if you go on like a 5-game losing streak in U Sports, you're screwed. Like you right off the season, basically. Like you have no chance of like finishing high in the standings and stuff like that. It's like the NFL, right? Like very limited games, so you have to be dialed at all times.
Yeah, it's especially this year for the first year in the OUA, only 6 teams make the playoffs from each division instead of 8. So it's like, yeah, anyway, we put ourselves in a good position, but it's good to get the break. Guys can do their exams and then mentally reset for the second half. But I wanna pull up more videos. So this is gonna be your penalty shot goal in Windsor. I got 2 different angles. Here's the bench angle. So first I'll just play it for the people watching. Boos are out.
A lot of boos.
Then you just silence them. And then this is the the angle from the broadcast that we'll play.
Cardwell scores!
I don't know what's with the quality, but I mean, you can see what happened.
He comes in from wide, head up all the way.
So just a quick release,
Shoots in
low blocker
stride.
there.
Gets
So
with
what
his
are you
jiu-jitsu.
seeing? Let's take us through like what you're looking at. So you're here, you're at the hash mark. What's
Well,
in your head?
hopefully there's no OHL goalies listening to this. Give away all the secrets. But no, actually, I don't know. I just kind of came in off the left-hand side there. Like to come in on that angle as a righty to kind of give myself a better view at the net. And if you can move a little bit, like from outside in, it already gets the goalie moving a little bit, whether you're going to shoot or deke, it really doesn't matter, but he may be off an angle by a little bit. And yeah, I just walked in and I honestly had no idea where I was going to shoot going in or if I might have deked or whatever, but I kind of just saw a little opening on the low blocker. And I figured if I could snap it in stride, he wouldn't be able to react quick enough. And sure enough, I wanted to make sure I was shooting out from far enough out too, because he wasn't like deep in his net by any means, but I saw that area and I figured, okay, if I can shoot in stride, then it'll catch him off guard and hopefully it goes in. And sure enough, it did. But it's actually funny, that first video, listening to that, like when I listened to it over and I never knew like how much booing and stuff there was going on. Like it was crazy, a lot of boos and stuff. But I feel like I honestly, like, I feel like when you're a player, like you don't even notice, like, and it's the same thing. Like when there's 20,000 people at a game, like you're all worried about it. But once you start playing, like it doesn't matter at all. And I feel like it's the same thing there. Like there's a million people booing there, and I had no idea about that. So that's interesting. But I'm just glad the goal went in. My last, I think, 2 attempts in the shootout haven't gone in. So to get one in the penalty shot felt good.
Yeah, so that's a good description. And also going forward, I think we're gonna maybe implement in our podcast some more like videos to react to like that. Maybe not necessarily of us like that or our teams, but maybe something in the NHL or something going viral. So what do you think of that idea, Cards? Because I'm just running it by Cardsy now for the first time too.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about this. Rask goes, I'm going to show you some videos and we'll talk it over. And I'm like, all right, sure. We'll see how it goes. But speaking of videos to react to, I know we don't have it queued up or anything, but can we talk about Binnington a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So obviously this guy's he's a distraction a little bit for his team. Like he's hitting guys, he's blocking people in the face. Like, I think if he's on my team, I would just be like, stay in your net. You're kind of being a distraction and it's not good for the team. And who knows, like he might even get hurt in the mix. So
Yeah.
I think it's also like from a fan perspective, I love it. I love seeing it, but I wouldn't want it on my team. So what's your take?
It's definitely adding, I don't know, it's stirring the pot a bit for the fans and stuff, but like, I don't like it. Like, I feel like for player safety, like these players, you're not going into these plays expecting a goalie to take a run at you or make a cheap shot at you. Like, I don't like that. Like, I think obviously the way the game's going, it's headed towards player safety and stuff. And this is just kind of like setting that back. Like you can't have, and it was like when he got pulled, even he goes over to the bench and stuff like that. I feel like almost there has to be like a different punishment or something for goalies rather than somebody else serves their penalty.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't they just take penalties, right? They don't care. They're like, okay, we'll go to the PK. I'll make the stops. But like, I definitely think he needs to calm down. And you saw even their coach said like, hey, like just stay in the net, make some stops. And he's an amazing goalie too. Like, I feel like these antics kind of just like they've been coming over the last few years, but they're really ramping up now since the team hasn't been doing amazing,
Yeah, you're right. And about the rule change thing you mentioned, like maybe if a goalie blockers someone in the face or like does an actual physical penalty, not like shooting it over the glass or something, but something something along those lines of hitting someone, maybe they have to go in the box and the backup guy comes in for 2.
That would be good entertainment. Like no warm up either. You took the penalty, your backup goes in cold. It doesn't matter.
But then it should be like if he gives up a goal,
it
like it's
doesn't
on
count
your
again.
goals again.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say it can't count against his goals against, but it goes on yours. So you can't. So goalies will stop doing it. And actually, while we're on the topic of the goalies, did you see the goalie fight in the OHL?
Yeah, I did, man. That was pretty exciting. It wasn't a long one, but it's always cool to see that. So
Yeah.
good for those guys.
I thought it was major jam too. They took their helmets off. They only got like I think a 3-game suspension. I thought it would have been way more taking your helmets off, especially at our level. Like fighting with helmets off is a big no. So, but great entertainment. It's kind of gone viral.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. I love that. Couple more NHL things to talk about, but while we're on the NHL topic, we should drop our guest. As you can see in the title, we got Kris Versteeg, 11-year NHL veteran, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks. So that's going to be a big one that we're excited to get out for you guys. But another NHL thing I wanted to talk about is Jason Robertson. So he's got 23 goals in 26 games, a whole bunch of points. This guy was just in the O a couple years ago, lighting it up. He's a favorite now for the Rocket Richard. What do you think about him?
Actually, well, he's an unreal player, right? Like he's kind of produced at every level, and it's like, okay, he went to the AHL for 1 year for that like development type year, lit it up in the AHL, goes up to the NHL, like just under a point per game or a point per game, I can't remember. Then excels in his second year, now his third year, obviously, like you said. It's been crazy. And like I saw a thing today, and I think it was Jeff O'Neill. No, I don't know who it was, but somebody said they were calling him Pete Davidson because they were saying he's not the fastest skater. He doesn't have the hardest shot, but he just gets the job done, and he just produces, and he's dialed. That was the exact quote. They said he's dialed after that. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Like comparison and everything like that. But, I was laughing at that one, and it's interesting because my girlfriend and his girlfriend are like grew up together in the same area, so like I'll always hear like about how he's doing and stuff like that. But it's crazy how well he's producing.
Yeah, like he's now on a bargain of a contract the way he's playing too. So
like incredibly, like what did he sign for? 7?
I don't know, 7 or 8. But I mean, he's like, if Matthews is making 12 and he's outscoring him and everyone else, and you could argue that he should be up there too. And obviously, like sample size isn't as big, but I think he's going to be like a top scorer in the league for a long time to come.
Well, how about the comparison to McDavid? And people are saying, oh yeah, well he's 23 and McDavid was 18 coming into the league. But it is all about like your opportunity when you come into the league. Like he wasn't given everything like McDavid was right away. You know, like that was a guy who kind of had to like earn it more. Like obviously McDavid, unreal superstar, throw him on the first line 100%. This wasn't the case for him. He played a whole year in the AHL, and then their 150 game comparison, like he has like a bunch more goals and stuff like that. And then McDavid obviously more assists, and then their points are right there with one another. And then Robertson with better plus minus. So like it is really crazy, like the kind of incline his career's been on, and like steady takeoff this year, and I don't expect to see anything less for years to come.
Yeah, and he's got a rocket of a shot. Like I watched him against the Leafs the other night, and
it wasn't like, sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, you're good.
Like his shot isn't like that hard. Like I feel like his brother's shot is a rocket. I feel like he just picks the spots so well. Like I watched him on the power play. He sees the screen in front. He just picks the corners. Like it's unreal.
Yeah, I mean it looks like a rocket to me. I'd actually love to see a radar gun on him, but I agree with what you're saying. Like Nick Robertson, this guy can play, man, and he's not getting an opportunity. But bro, when he's in the lineup, like he can really play. He looks so good, and we saw him in person. I think we didn't even say we went to the Leafs game against San Jose last week. Your team, the Gavin guys, shout out Gavin again. They gave us some tickets, so we got to go see the Leafs against Cardsy's squad, the San Jose Sharks, where the Leafs won 3-1, and so that was fun. But I think we saw Nick Robertson in that game, and
I don't know. So maybe clip this. You can go check the box score. But I don't think he played, man. I don't know. I don't
All
remember.
right, I can't remember, but I've seen him on TV a bunch, and I've seen him back in the O. But he looks good when he plays, man.
He does. Maybe he did play. I don't know. Now you're messing with my head. I was
Now I'm
busy.
just pulling it up because we have to now. When was it? Wednesday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Leafs versus Sharks. Box score.
Number 89.
Sick number. Yeah, he was playing. I thought so. There we go. I was
There.
paying attention. Cardsy's watching Erik Karlsson all game.
Man, I was just to watch that guy out there, like, because we've been talking about him so much, and like obviously, like that was my main focus going into the game. I wasn't really watching the Leafs at all, actually, and that was funny because we were in the crowd, and you're like, "You noticed Matthews?" I'm like, "Well, to be honest, I haven't really noticed anyone on the Leafs. I just been kind of ISOing guys on San Jose, but that was fun, and I really appreciate that from Stu Gavin and Justin, who we had on last week, to hook us up with those tickets. It was a good time.
Yeah. No, it's fun, and yeah, the Leafs are buzzing. We don't need to get too much into it, but everyone knows this is our year, so the Leafs are probably going to win the cup. That's
That's a read, but
the Leafs are gonna get out of the first round this year. They will.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Anyway,
Actually, let's make a deal. Let's go.
oh God.
We got to have a punishment for. Okay.
See, I'm always
make,
scared like making deals with when it comes to the Leafs making it out of the first round now.
yeah. Well, okay.
Day,
We'll say that there's going to be a deal in place, and then we'll pick the punishment next episode when we have some time to think about it.
okay. All right. Leafs. If the Leafs make it out of the first round, then I win. They don't. What does that mean? You lose? Or
Yeah, that means I lose.
If they do, then you lose. I mean.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so we'll come up with something. All right. Before we send it to Kris Versteeg, we got an awesome message from Manscaped. So let's get into that. 'Tis the season for clean balls. Oh, I think I'm supposed to sing it. Fa la 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 la. Our friends at Manscaped are helping you clear your driveway for safe travels this holiday season. From stocking stuffers to white elephants, Manscaped's products are at the top of every wish list. Grab some crop mops for your pops or the body buffer for the holiday lover. Win this year's white elephant gift and help all the men in your life go from eggnog to nice hog this December by going to manscaped.com and using code SHOWBOUND for 20% off plus free shipping. Manscaped is a one-stop shop for all your holiday needs. They have the perfect gift in the Platinum Package 4.0, plus loads of little presents perfect for stocking stuffers. What better holiday gift than giving the gift of good hygiene and a few laughs? Manscaped offers a handful of their liquid formulations, shampoos, body washes, upstairs and downstairs deodorant, gels, exfoliants, absolutely everything they could need to keep it clean. Don't let their chestnuts roast in the wrong boxers. Get them a pair of Manscaped boxers, especially made to keep the area cool and provide holiday comfort all year round. Now that you've gifted them perfect privates, go beyond the grown with Manscaped's full body product line. Dad has nasty nose hairs? Save his life with the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. The Shears 2.0 is their full kit for nail care with scissors, clippers, tweezers, and a file for the traveling man. I have the Shears 2.0 kit, actually. It's pretty awesome. There's the new, I can't read. There's the new Persevere cologne that brings a light, breezy, woodsy feel and gives that fresh tree scent even after the holidays are over. Still using a loofah? Introducing the body buffer. Well, loofahs actually hold bacteria from dead skin. Help them throw out that disgusting old loofah and get the body scrubber that feels smoother but acts tougher. I feel like Cardsy out here the way I'm reading. Lastly, top off the stocking with the crown jewel for their family jewels, the Lawnmower 4.0. The electric razor's advanced skin-safe technology is a life changer and known for reducing nicks and cuts on his Santa sack. Manscaped is here to make holiday shopping a blast by giving products they'll love and make them laugh. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SHOWBOUND at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code SHOWBOUND. Manscaped, for a perfect gift that will be the holidays' biggest hit.
Listen to me. If
Yep.
you want to be a family favorite, a favorite of your boyfriend, favorite of your grandfather, I don't know. Get this gift for them for Christmas and use Showbound promo code because it'll save you a little bit of money. But most importantly, they'll be cleaned up down below.
Exactly. Cardsy says it right. And I guess with all that said, let's send it over to Kris Versteeg now. Alrighty, we are pleased to be joined by Kris Versteeg, two-time Stanley Cup champion. Steeger, how's it going, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
So what's going on these days now that you're retired? I mean, I honestly, we should jump into it. You're rocking the clever hat. Like, do you want to talk about what you got going on before we get into some of your career stuff?
Yeah, Clever's a startup that I founded in October of 2020 based out of necessity because athletes and parents were trying to send me video in order to teach, to send back to them. And there was just no streamlined way to do it. And that's what Clever is. We've streamlined the clip edit and share process. So what once used to take a couple, an hour to 2 hours to do just to teach one thing and you'd be on 2 to 3 different platforms. Now you can do it in a minute. Literally someone could send a coach or an athlete could send a coach a video or even their own parent. They could voice over it, draw on it, pull 2 clips up at one time, whatever you need to do and share it back. And you can literally do it with fitness now, any sport. We have 9 sports on the platform and fitness. So it's a pretty cool tool. And basically just a platform that gives anyone to gain the edge.
And on top of that, I don't know how much you can share, but you're starting a hockey league too. Can we get into that?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So there's the Clever Super League. That is now off and running. We've got some members, charter members, affiliate members, 6 charter members to be exact, the Aces, the Raiders, ourselves, Eastern Ontario Young Kings. I could go through a couple more. And then a lot of the top development companies, though, around have put these charter teams together, and they're going to have 3 age groups at tier 1 and tier 2. So next year it'll be the 2015, 2016, and 2017 ages, tier 1 and tier 2. And it's just about giving kids a competitive stream now to play hockey. And again, you can debate whether the full ice is good. I still think they should be on, small area games and developing their brain and their skills and all that. But the competitive kids need to play competitive hockey. They need to be challenged and they need to do it in a safe environment, in a safe way. And that's our goal, to give them a safe space to play hockey, to enjoy the game they love, and to develop and stop focusing everything. I don't know if you know much about youth hockey, but everything's about spring hockey. So kids just forget about winter hockey, right? Because winter hockey is basically such a joke now that it's just house league. There's no development. So all the parents focus all their time to spring. And that's what we're kind of hoping to give, is that, that spring level of development and the excitement for what players basically put through excitement for spring. We want that for the winter, right? You're there for 8 months. You should enjoy your time at hockey. You should be getting developed. People should be putting they're putting hard-earned money into it for their kids, and they should get the right development, and they should get competitive hockey, especially if kids want to be competitive and if their parents want that as well. So that's what the Clever Super League is. I'm excited about getting it going. Clever, again, is a huge supporter. Every team will be using Clever in the league because video coaching is so essential now for kids, being such video learners. And Clever is one of the main sponsors. They're the biggest sponsor of the league, and every team will be using Clever to get their kids to go and take their game to the next level.
Yeah, it's an awesome idea, and you said it very well, as I'm sure you've said it many times before. But I guess just 2 more things, and I'll flip it over to Cards to keep moving forward. But one of them, I just want to take the chance now. I want to shout out Jake Chella for setting up this interview. He works with you on the Super League and plays on our Brock hockey team here. So shout out to Chella for that. And 2, is there like a website for guys to go to who want to check out this league or anything like that?
Yes, so there's 2 websites. They'll all be linked up here at some point. So there's Clever, KLEVR, superleague.com, and that's a splash page. And then there's also the Clever Network, KLEVR network.com. And that is, again, where everything will live inside the Clever Network. All the Young Kings teams, all the scheduling, everything will be there for the league. For the teams, the information. And then again, Clever itself is clever, KLEVR.ai. If any coaches, athletes, or parents want to learn more, and please reach out, because we'd love to get more coaches on the platform that are trying to monetize their knowledge.
Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting, and it's nice to kind of like hear about this. And obviously you haven't been Oh, slouch since retirement. You've been real busy there, and we're gonna kind of send it back to a time where you weren't even thinking about retirement at this point. But your NHL draft in 2004, Ovechkin's draft, you go fifth round to the Boston Bruins. Do you want to just tell us about that draft day for you and the experience, and were you there?
No, I wasn't there. It's a story in itself. I actually went to my graduation that day. I didn't think I was going to be drafted. I was told by my one coach that there's a possibility I go to, I think it was Columbus, San Jose, and Boston. That's what he said. There's a few teams looking at you, but he goes, if you are, you're probably going to go in the 8th or 9th round. And that's basically what I suspected. If I was to go, it would be just a flyer in the 8th or 9th round. I ended up going to my graduation, high school graduation the night before. Was with my ex-girlfriend. We left. There's things out west, they're called the safe grad. So basically you go and you drink in a field for 6 hours and then you leave, and they put a wristband on you. And I get home and my ex-girlfriend's pulling me out of the car, I kind of remember, and we get on the front lawn and my mom comes outside and she's crying, and I'm like, what's wrong, and she's like, you've just been drafted. Rich Sutter called. He called from Carolina. I'm like, okay, what? And it was about it was about 7 in the morning, because that's when I got home, 7. So it was 9 in Carolina. And I'm like, what do you mean? That means I would have had to go in like the 4th or 5th round. She goes, you went in the 5th round. And and I was like, it's insane. So anyways, I went and slept off the intoxication, and I woke up about 3-4 hours later with all the film crew at the house, ready there to interview me for my hometown news. But it was, again, like I was at my high school graduation having fun with my friends, not even thinking I was going to get drafted to the NHL.
That's got to be the most unique story we've heard yet. Like we always hear the ones, oh yeah, I got nervous because I didn't go early enough and stuff like this. But that's hilarious to hear that it just wasn't even on your radar, and then boom, just like that. But
yeah, I was shocked, like 5th round, right? Like,
yeah,
I wasn't ranked in any of the rankings, nothing. But I had a really good hockey. So I actually, as a 17-year-old, I led my team in scoring in the WHL. It wasn't many points. Like, we didn't have a high scoring team. It's not insanely impressive. So I had a good year, but I also played for Team Canada at the end of the year, and I had a really good tournament. And I believe that's where the Boston scouts saw me. But again, I never interviewed with one team, didn't have one interview. So again, I didn't think I was going to be drafted.
yeah, no, for sure. And that kind of cancels out our next question. I was going to ask if you had any interesting interviews or unique questions from teams. So with that being said, I guess we can flip it over to Rask and kind of get on the way with this NHL career.
Yeah, I mean, such a great career you had. I also do want to say that while we're talking about weird drafts and stuff, so Cardsy here, he was drafted while he was caddying for his brother in a golf tournament in the States. So he might have you one upped on that one.
So a little different, but yeah, that's I wasn't having beers like yourself though. So
But
I don't even know what I was having that night.
yeah. But anyway, moving in, so you never end up playing for the Bruins, but you made your NHL debut with Chicago. So can you tell us how you found out you were gonna get into your first NHL game and how it went for you?
Yeah, I at the start of that year, actually, I had a really good year in Providence, ended up getting traded at the end of the year. And then I went to Chicago the next year, and I had a really slow start. So about 10 games in, I didn't think the NHL dream was going to be very soon. But then I had a meeting with the coach. I wasn't playing very much, had a meeting with the coach. I might have tried to flip a table. I can't remember. That could have happened. And
That's a big jam out of a guy with 10 games.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was choked. But the year before, I think I was 13th in the league scoring as a rookie, right? And then I get to Chicago and I'm not playing many minutes because they did have a deep bench, but so I was pissed off. But again, I knew when I was going in that office, I'm going to make a stir and you're going to play me, but I better step up if I get played. And I believe it was the next 7 games I had like 15 points, right? So I kind of went on a heater, and now it's November. Is the start of November, and I'm on my way to practice, feeling good about myself. Again, about the month prior, I was at a lowest low. As you guys know, as hockey players, when it's low, it's low. And now I'm riding a heater, feeling good. And I got a call from Al McIsaac, and he said, the Hawks are on their way to Chicago or to Calgary. Would you like to play your first NHL game? And I was like, okay, what? And Calgary's my hometown. Like Lethbridge, Alberta is where I'm from. So that's basically a hometown game for me. And I was like, you're shitting me. He's like, no, we're calling you up. You're going to play your first ever NHL game in Calgary. And, you know, I remember hanging up and I was emotional, very, very emotional. I was crying, called my mom. She started crying, called my dad, obviously the first two people, and my grandparents, my Oma, everyone. And yeah, I just remember just being overwhelmed with emotion, but also thinking, holy shit, I got to go play my first ever NHL game lined up against, you know, my idol, one of my idols, Jerome McGinley, and a guy like 3 years prior to that in 2004, I was at the Red Mile with like a Calgary Flames foam puck on my head, you know, and now 3 years later, you know, I was working at Sport Check and 3 years later, I got to go perform in front of friends and family at the Saddle Dome. So it was a wave of emotion, like I told you, but I got to Calgary, got to see everyone. We had about 100 friends and family end up attending the game. And so after the game, it was nuts, the amount of people that were there, but it was just a crazy experience, you know, seeing friends and family on the other side of the glass when you're at the Saddle Dome. You know, you're so used to being on the other side, and now you're there. And it's a surreal moment.
Yeah, coming from Lethbridge, like that must be so cool. I didn't know that was where your first game was. So, how long did it take you to get your first NHL goal, and who was it on?
So I played 3 games, got sent down, got called up about a month later, and it was just after New Year's. So a month and a half later, it was just after New Year's, I got called up to Phoenix. That's right, yeah, Phoenix. I think we we're down 2-1, maybe, or whatever. I already set up a goal. My first ever assist was earlier in the game. But I remember, I think I got the pass on the half wall. I just one-timed it in front of the net, and it went off Keith Ballard's back and in the net. So complete fluke. And it was on Michael Telkvist. So I don't even know if you guys remember that name. He might have played
remember him
in Toronto. But yeah, so that was my first goal, Michael Telkvist. It was a fluke too. Like,
They all
Hey, they
count.
don't ask how, or especially for your first. So, I'm just curious too. Like, we'll get into it more, but I mean, you spent a lot of time, you know, 2 stints with the Blackhawks and Joel Quenneville. Do you have any funny Joel Quenneville stories just off the top of your head?
Yeah, I got a ton. I was definitely the whipping boy, like I tell everyone. There was a time, it was 2007, and I was going down the wing. Ruslan Saleh was chasing me down, and that was back in the day when you shouldn't shoot the puck through your legs, right? About a year prior to that, I actually scored a goal in the AHL. I shot the puck through my legs, like went right off the crossbar and made it 1-0 in Portland, Oregon. Or not Portland, Maine, sorry. I had to fight 3 times within 24 hours, basically, because we played this team back to back. So that was like the last time I did it. And then, so in the NHL now, I'm like, okay, I'm coming down the wing. The puck falls in my feet. I put it through my legs and put it right off the crossbar and out. Like, perfect shot through my legs. Don't know how I did it. Like, pure luck, fluke. I guess Quenneville's on the bench. Like, did he just do that? Did he just do that? Are you kidding me? That's junior shit. You know, he's freaking out. I get back to the bench. He's sitting on the bench or standing on the bench screaming at me. That's junior shit. You don't do that. You know, he's screaming. I'm like, okay, you know. So then we get into the period, or after the period, we go into the room. He pulls me into the hallway, and the hallway's right next to the room. He's like, did you just shoot it through your legs? Did you just shoot it through your legs? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, that's junior shit. The whole room is dying laughing on the other side of the wall, right? Next day, get to the rink again, pulls it up on video. It's me shooting the puck through my legs, off the crossbar and out. Everyone's dying laughing, right? And he's like, that's not funny. It's not funny. That's not funny, you know? And then I'm sitting there like a beaten puppy, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, like he just gave it to me for 24 hours straight. And it's funny because like he was kind of yelling at you, like yelling, but also possibly to get a reaction out of the rest of the guys. But anyways, we go on to practice. Everyone's shooting the puck. Well, Buff and Kane started it, but they start shooting the puck through their legs basically to prove a point that they can do it and I can't. But yeah, it was that I mean, there's a ton of stories like that with Q where the stuff he said on the bench was just comical. He was very reactionary. So there was a lot of funny stuff that he said.
That's incredible. And obviously good things came from being the whipping boy. You obviously get your first cup in 09-2010 season. And just like, do you want to talk about that playoff run? Like how incredible that was and the feeling of winning your first cup?
Well, yeah, the first cup, there's really nothing like it. Especially the way we did it. We didn't think we were going to win, or we didn't think the puck went in. Sorry. So you're jumping on the ice and you're like, man, if we didn't win and we threw our gloves off and we have to go back and play and end up losing, the Stanley Cup, this will be the worst thing in history. Like
I wanted to ask, that was the Kane one
yeah,
against. Okay, so what did you see? Like, did you see anything on the bench or on the ice from there?
I didn't. So I think I just came off the ice and I remember I had my arm up kind of like this. I saw King get the puck and you're kind of watching him go with it, right? And then he snapped it from the bottom of the circle. And I remember it made a thunk. I thought it hit the goalie's paddle and then flew into the meshing, right? So I'm looking in the meshing and I remember Brower saying, "Where's the puck?" And I'm like, "I think it's in the mesh," right? Like up top. And he's like, "It's not there. I don't see it." I'm like, "I don't see it either." And all of a sudden, kind of by that conversation, I remember with Brow, Kane stuffs off. And I'm like, "What's going on?" And Brow's like, "It's in the net." And I'm like, "It's in the net," you know? And I'm like, "It better be in the net," right? And then guys are throwing their stuff off. So I just threw my stuff off, like, okay, everyone else is throwing off. But I remember in my head, I'm like, dear Lord, if this is not in the net, this is bad. Like, this is bad. I was just kind of going along with it at the start because everyone was throwing their stuff off. So I'm like, it must be in the net. And then I remember we were all celebrating and we looked at the bench. And then kind of by then we got the thumbs up. And I remember looking down the ice and I did see the ref grab it out of the net. Some people say the ref claims that he never grabbed it. 1,000%. I seen him grab it out of the net. Like, you've seen him grab something out of that cushion. And right then and there, yeah, you could really start to celebrate. Like, basically, like, holy shit, we just won the Stanley Cup. And, you know, it goes from a moment of please God be in to we won, and, you know, the rest is history. You just it's a feeling some people describe, like you have like a 2 or 3 hour high, well, so probably like a 24-hour high, where you're just so happy. You're so happy for all the people that given you that opportunity. You're happy that your best friend that you played with won as well. You know, there's just like, you're not just happy for yourself, which is, it's a crazy feeling. You're happy you did it, but you also think about all the people along the way, the journey that got you there, right? To that pinnacle moment. And it's a feeling that that'll never be replicated. Again, having your children, I say, is one thing. It's a happiness and a joy and an appreciation for life that you'll never have. That's kind of how I explain kids, because it changes you. It definitely changes you in the fact of that. But the feeling of winning a cup it's like an ecstasy of that you'll never experience. Like, it's just the happiest you'll ever be.
And also, like, a lot of people have kids. Not a lot of people won the cup, so there's a little more something special there.
Yeah, again, like I love my kids, and it's just like when people say they compare kids to the cup, it's not comparable. Like, I've done both, right? And it's just, kids are appreciation for life. You're like, shit, this little thing's mine. Like, I better cherish this and give it. You got to feed it. Fuck, like, I mean, I don't know if I can swear, but like, you got to feed the thing.
Good.
Okay. And but winning the cup, it's like you get a shot of ephedrine right in your arm, and you're like, you just can't believe it. It's a high that I mean, I experienced it after the second one, but the first one, I could have ran through a wall. I was so happy.
Yeah. And speaking of that high, wanted to go into the party afterwards. How was that, your first cup party?
Yeah, it was great. Getting into the room in Philly, it was nice in Philly because in Chicago when we won, there was just so many people in the room. And it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was crazy. It was fun. But I mean, you had people that like were selling tickets that were like cramming in the room, jumping on the table, dancing, and I'm like, what's going on in here, which it's great. But in Chicago, the first one, it was just kind of us and our families. And we're just in the room partying with just our teammates and our coaches and everyone, passing the cup around, drinking champagne, hugging, crying, laughing. We'd been through a lot over 2.5 years, 3 years. I'd been with a lot of those guys for 4 years almost, right? So it was a rush of emotions, mainly happiness, obviously, and a feeling again, like you wake up the next day still like, holy hell, like you're invincible. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. And then also when you got the cup for your day with the cup in the summer, how was that? Did you do anything special?
Yeah, so basically both times I had a pig roast. My dad sells tractors, and his buddy who's on a big farm, he loves doing like big pig roasts for big parties. So both times we did that. The same caterers came out and they did an incredible job. But the first time I had more of it in my backyard, and then we went to all like my favorite spots in my hometown, like, the sign of Lethbridge, the old rink that I played at, my old house. I played street hockey on the street that I grew up with. I played for the cup against the neighbor kids I used to play against for the Stanley Cup. It's actually a video on YouTube. It's a pretty neat video that was made. And I ended up losing that day, but it was, I went there, had a party at night, rented out the local bar I used to always go to, brought all my friends and family there, brought it to my grandparents, just did everything with family and try to make it as special as possible. The second time, very similar, is just a little bit more structured, I would say. I went to my buddy's farm again, had the pig roast, had DJs. We actually had 2 different DJ sets going on at one time. One was playing more country, one was playing more electronic. Because my dad's like, I hate that dance shit. So I'm like, I'll get you your own DJ table. So in one of the sheds out back, all the older people were hanging out listening to country and old rock, and the younger people are dancing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like an awesome time. Like, it's just so cool hearing you talk about it. But something I'm interested in hearing about is the next year you get traded to Toronto, and I'm a big Leafs fan. Everyone who listens to this podcast knows that. So I'm curious just how you found out about the trade and how you reacted.
Yeah, so it would have been Canada Day, roughly in that time frame, and I think it was Canada Day because I was the parade marshal in my hometown. And I remember about 2 weeks prior, so right when we won the cup, I was in this back alley that we were just having a drink, me, Vince Vaughn, and then Stan Bowman came and just having a drink. And Stan told me right there, hey, we're going to have to trade you. And I remember Vince Vaughn, as Vince Vaughn does. I don't know if do you know Vince Vaughn?
Oh, yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was a big actor in those days, though. And he was like, no, you can't trade Kris. You can't trade Kris. Like, you got to keep him. He's trying to convince Stan that he's got to trade me. So that was the first time I actually knew I was going to get traded. Fast forward 2 weeks later, I get a call from Stan basically saying there's a couple teams. I think I'm going to send you to Toronto. I know what type of personality you have. You should do well in a big market. So I remember him saying it to me, right? And he's like, so I think I'm going to send you to Toronto. He called me back about an hour and a half later. And then that's when the deal was finalized. So actually I got my day with the cup July 3rd, I believe. And I got traded 3 days before. So I was actually a Leaf when I had my day with the cup.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, sorry, that's ice in the background. But the day with so when I got traded to Toronto, though, it was nuts though, right? Like, your phone blows up. You're in the biggest market in the world for hockey now. And I didn't really fully understand it till I got to Toronto. But it was a good experience. It sucked that we weren't good, but I would have loved to play on a good Toronto team.
Yeah. No, I remember watching you play in Toronto. It's cool to have you here now. But I'm curious too, like, I have a lot of questions about it, but we don't need to go too into it. But what was Phil Kessel like when you played with him?
He was my roommate.
Oh yeah.
And he was my roommate. He's a great guy, hilarious, complains about everything, but so do I. I complain about most. But he was just a great person to be around. I mean, there's just so many stories about Phil. He always used the clothes hangers. I've told this story on tons of podcasts, so if your listeners have heard it, I apologize. But I'd be in the room and Phil would be, we'd both be sleeping. It'd be like 7 a.m. I remember we're in Pittsburgh, and he'd always take the clothes hangers to close the blinds shut, right? Because he doesn't want no sun coming in the morning. And the clothes hanger fell off the blinds. And I remember sun was peering in right in Phil's eyes, right? And all I hear, I'm sleeping still. And he's like, oh, my eyes. Oh, my God. The sun's in my eyes, and he's freaking out. I'm like, dude, stand up. He's like, you got to get it. And literally my bed is on the far side of the blinds. It's my bed, his bed, blinds. I'm like, you're right there. He's like, no, you got to get it. But that was Phil. Back in the day when we had to have roommates, right? Like, we're both on our second, and he might have been on he'd have been on his second contract. So we had roommates. It's a little strange to say now. Most of the players don't have roommates anymore. But those times as a roommate with him in my younger years, it was enjoyable, like, just watching movies with him, bullshitting, talking, it was memorable times. I remember when I got traded, they said, how do you feel about Kris getting traded? He goes, how do you think I feel? He's my friend, and so that always stuck with me, a guy that, reciprocates that same type of friendship towards you, a guy that with that stature and how big of a personality he is and was.
I want to know too, like, there's a lot of talk about him, like, eating brutal and stuff like that. How bad is it really? And like his hydration?
I mean, I don't know much about the hydration, but he ate brutal. Yeah, I mean, pre-game meal, he always had a designated bowl of cheddar cheese, like a full bowl of cheese. Yeah, and he would put it on his chicken, his salad, his everything. So like he'd be like, I feel terrible. I'd be like, again, apologizing to your listeners, but these are my best stories from him. And I'd be like, you ate a bowl of cheese. Like you ate a full bowl of cheese. You're gonna feel like shit, man. He's like, yeah, that's okay, it's not that. I'm like, it is that. And then, he'd go out and have 2 goals and an assist, and I'd be -3, and he'd tell me after the game continuously how he felt terrible that night. I'd want to kill him because he's got 2 goals and assist, and I'm -3, right? And he's ate a bowl of cheese and he's still performing. Yeah, he did not eat good. It might change now. I mean, I haven't talked.
He looks better now. He
Yeah.
looks good these days, that's for sure.
Yeah, and again, the other thing too, like I remember shit talking to him all the time. We'd be in the room. I'd be like, Phil, you are like, there's no chance you could lift more than me. And at those days, like, I could lift a bit, and I'd go up. We'd be like, let's go in the squat rack, right? He'd go into the squat rack, basically throw 4 pies aside, rip off 10, not even warmed up, and put it back on the bar. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, never mind, I'm screwed. I can't do that. So yeah, there's tons of shit talking with him, but he'd back it up.
That's crazy. So, well, yeah, obviously he has, and he has for a while now as we see him take that streak and everything like that. But moving on with your career here, like you take a quick stop in Philadelphia and then off to play in the Sunshine State with the Panthers. So how was that playing in Florida?
I love Florida. I had a lot of injuries there, and again, I wouldn't have been fun to be around, especially that second and third year, because again, I had a hip tear, 2 groin tears before I went there, ACL, right? But when I first got there, we were a team that was just mashed together. Even the media, they were shit talking us pretty good. We ended up winning the division, lost to the Devils in double overtime game 7, and then Devils ended up going to the Stanley Cup finals, then lost to the Kings in game 6. So for a team that was kind of mishmashed together, wasn't supposed to be good, being able to help get that team to the playoffs was, to me, I look back at a lot of the achievements, when you start to look back at your individual career, helping that team as an individual, like many individuals did on that team, not saying I did it alone, but, being a big part of that team, winning a banner and going to the playoffs on a team that had no business being there, I look back as one of my most favorite accomplishments as a team.
Yeah, and like you said, you didn't play much in your second and third year there, but I'm pretty sure, if we're not mistaken, you coached the University of Lethbridge during that second year. So like, how did that come about, and like, what went on there?
Yeah, so I had my hip surgery, and it was about November when I got okayed to play, but by then the lockout was on. So then I got called by Greg Gatto. He's a coach there, and asked if I'd like to come on the bench. At that time, if I was smart, I actually should have went and played somewhere to get in shape, but I didn't. So I ended up going back and coaching the university for 2 months and being a part of that. And then again, like I think it was January 3rd or 4th, the league ended up getting called back. We were getting told the whole time that there's a big possibility the league wasn't going to go on that year. And then I came back to play in Florida, wasn't in great shape, and actually tore my ACL about 10 games in, I think it was. So it was rough, but the university experience was cool. You got to go every day, be around the guys, coach. And I was also, going on the ice to try to stay in shape. I should have done it better. I probably shouldn't have gone at all, and I should have played to stay in shape, and would have been better that way. But that's how it was, and got to live with that choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure now there's no hockey team there at Lethbridge now. You see that?
Oh, it's sad. Yeah, it's sad that I don't know what happened. I don't think they could get the funding they claim, and they wanted to put the funding in other areas. But yeah, it's Lethbridge, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where I come from, but a lot of the people running the operations there, it's not good.
Well, we don't need to get into it, but getting into your second cup with Chicago, you go back to the Blackhawks and win another cup in 2015. So, just do you want to touch on that playoff run and winning it that second time?
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't have as big of a role, especially that second time, so it was a bit different. I got hurt a little bit going into the playoffs, and then Wasn't playing particularly good in the first round. Didn't play at all in the second round. I got healthy scratched against Minnesota, and then came back and I actually played really good in the Cup finals. I didn't think I was going to play, but that's when Brian Bickle, and they thought it was vertigo, but it was MS. So he ended up playing more in the second and third round, and then they brought me in and to play in the finals because he was dizzy and was having vertigo. So that cup was a little different. I again ended up winning and having that same type of feeling. Winning the Stanley Cup, you're like, oh shit, this just happened again. But it was a different ride there, a different road. I again wasn't healthy. It was a lot bumpier, a lot more stress. I thought as a hockey player. Not so much in the fact of trying to win it, but just as a hockey player. And so when I won that one, it was definitely a weight off the shoulders of all the shit I went through for 2 years with injuries and rehabbing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but before we kind of touch on Calgary and playing there in your hometown and everything like that, but we wanted to know, was there any cool encounters? I know you weren't in LA for a long time, but any cool encounters with celebrities or any Hollywood moments while you were there?
Honestly, it was just I remember, again, I knew Vince Vaughn well, and my wife knows his wife pretty well. I went to his house for his kid's birthday party, and that was, he's the biggest celebrity I knew there, and I got to talk to, and just a great guy. I haven't really stayed in touch with him. My wife stays in touch with his wife a little bit, and she's actually from Vulcan, Alberta. So that's how I ended up getting introduced to him in Chicago. But he's again, you're sitting next to Vince Vaughn in those days, and he's massive, right? And you're like, holy hell, right? And sometimes when he's talking, you almost feel like you're watching a movie because he's that funny, and that's kind of how he is. He's just being himself, right?
I was gonna ask it, like, is he like his characters? Because he always plays the same character. Is that just who he is?
Yeah, he does. He's very much like that. Very much. Yeah, he's he's fast talking, always joking, cracking jokes, having fun. Just a super good person to be around.
That's just pretty cool to know him, and let alone like be able to sit there, have a beer with him, whatever it may be. But and then yeah, like I said before, Calgary, obviously you said pretty emotional to play your first game there. How was it to be able to go back and be able to be a part of the Flames?
Oh, that was awesome. Again, the leading up to that was a little weird because I went to Edmonton's camp. They ended up offering a deal, and then I ended up taking a deal with Calgary. So the reason I took it is because my grandparents, they're getting older. I wanted them to be able to come to games still, and that extra 3 hours of a drive to Edmonton, it just doesn't suit them very well. So for me, picking to play in Calgary was everything to do with family over at the time, who I cared more about was the Flames or Edmonton. Calgary did guarantee me that I was going to still have a big role on the team and play a lot of ice, where Edmonton wanted me to be Jesse Pugliarvi's like helper. I don't know. Really, I'm still like at the time. I'm like, I told the guy, I'm like, I'm better than Pugliarvi. Why am I flipping in and out for shifts with him? Right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I remember why I was like, I ain't playing here. I'd rather play in Calgary in front of friends and family and have still a big role on the team rather than being someone's like extra coach or something. I don't know really what they were thinking, but being at Saddle Dome again, playing my first ever game there, playing for the Flames, playing my first ever playoff game against Calgary, and then playing my last ever NHL game with the Flames. I have a special connection to them now. I definitely do. I grew up being an Oilers fan, massive Oilers fan, because my dad loves Wayne.
Yeah.
But now I'm, Calgary's my team. That's who I cheer for.
Super cool. I was wondering who you grew up cheering for. So that cool though. Calgary obviously making good strides to be a cup contender soon. But what do you think?
Painful. I like the Sutter, they're close family friends, right? Rich and Ron. I just want Daryl to turn Huberdeau loose. That's it. I've said it on Calgary radio. I just said, just play him. Why is he playing 15 to 17 minutes a night? You can't play a star 15 to 17 minutes a night. You won't, it just won't work. It won't work. Maybe in 2012 when you had Anze Kopitar, Justin Williams on your third line, like maybe when you have that many great players in your lineup, you can do it. But they don't have Justin Williams on their third line, right? So play your stars, please. They do need to pick up a forward. I thought at the start of the year they were going to be able to trade a D-man to get a forward, but now that's looking bleak. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on it. I mean, I want to move into some fan questions. We don't want to take up too much of your time, so we can kind of wrap it up. We had so many, but I'll just pick like one or two. One of them that stuck out to me was, what's been your favorite city to live in, hockey aside?
Oh, Chicago. Yeah.
Okay.
Chicago's, especially in the spring and summertime and fall, it's, great weather. The food's amazing. The people are so kind. So much to do, nightlife, everything. I love Chicago. Sports, I love their sports. The best. Like, if Chicago had better weather, there'd be no better city to live in on earth, I don't think.
Mhm. Okay.
Again, I heard I went back, it was a little rough downtown.
Yeah, I've heard it's like pretty high
Okay.
murder rate, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
it ain't like it, but usually that's on the one end of town. I believe in like some of the scarier areas, but I've heard it's leaked downtown a little bit now, and I was there, and it was definitely a little sketchy downtown.
Okay. I wanted to ask you if you can quickly talk about being on Battle of the Blades. We got a couple asking about that.
Yeah, that was an experience to be able to learn how to dance and figure skate and then go on national TV basically within 3 weeks was honestly probably the scariest I've ever been. Like when the countdown to that first dance came on, and you're like, it's like 10, 9, 8, and it's like the camera goes live and you're like sitting there like, holy fuck, I just forgot the whole thing. Literally, you're like blacking out, your heart's going everywhere because you're still like, man, I just started picking up this person 3 weeks ago. I've never, and now I got to go on TV and remember dance moves and everything. It was horrifying, honestly, the first time. And I thought I'd be more confident, but I was not confident.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, let's go look stupid. It's going to be funny. But you're like, no. Honestly, the biggest thing you're thinking about is not dropping someone.
Yeah.
Just scared. That's awesome.
Yeah. Fun experience though. Great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't watch any on YouTube, but
I've seen it. I remember seeing it live. You're great.
Yeah. So everyone listening to this episode, go search that one up.
Don't.
For a good chuckle. I mean, yeah, I remember watching it too. You did look pretty darn good out there I didn't realize you picked it up 3 weeks earlier.
Yeah, so they gave us skates, but because of COVID, usually they give the personnel, I think it's about 5-6 weeks of getting comfortable and all that. But with COVID, it was literally, it might even have been 2 weeks, to be honest with you. Three would have been max. It would have been like 3 weeks, start to get together. Week 2, we're just starting to lift. Week 3 was like, it was 3 weeks. And again, still at that time, you're like toe picking in practice all the time, falling down, and you still don't really know how to lift someone. Yeah, it was sketchy for me to like that first dance. I was like, good. By the end, I was like, okay, I'm okay with the toe picks. I'm comfortable picking her up. I'm comfortable with a lot of the small stuff, but still, they kept pushing you to do more each week, which is good because it's good for the show and it's good for it's challenging you. But at the same time, in the back of your head, you're like, holy, like
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're a little scared. But again, they're very safe about it, right? You got the spotters beside you and the people, but still, you're like, I don't know how to do this. I've never had dance lessons in my life.
That's hilarious.
At a country bar, but
yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of all we got here from you. We don't want to take you all night. We really appreciate you taking the time to come on here. Obviously, a 2-time Cup champ is always a treat to get on, and it was great to hear from you and your stories.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it a ton, Steeger. Best of luck with Clever. I'll be keeping an eye.
For sure. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Later, boys.
All right. I want to thank Kris Versteeg for that. Super cool to have him on, hear about winning Stanley Cups and his long career in the NHL, and a pretty big name guest for our podcast. So I'm really happy we got to get him on. And what do you think of that, Cards?
No, I thought it was great. Some pretty cool stories there that, like, obviously hearing about Phil, hearing about the Cup, just kind of
the Phil Kessel stories were so funny.
That guy's one of a kind, man, and that's hilarious. And I'm just like super happy Steeger was
welcome and opening to open up about it and kind of just to share these stories with us and our audience. So I was really grateful for that. And it's just nice to have a such a high profile player like that come on and talk to us for a little bit. And no, it was a great pod all in all. And I think the fans really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I'm just going back to our old episodes. I'm trying to think, how many cup champs have we had on? I know we got obviously Steeger, we got Alex Newhook, Mitchell Stevens potentially, like he lifted the
Yeah,
cup
no,
on
no,
the
no, no,
ice.
no, no. He won.
He
He is
won it?
two, technically two.
Okay. So there you go. I'm just going through the rest of the list here. We'll probably have a lot of future cup champs, I would think, but just pretty interesting, I guess. I wanted to say, as I'm scrolling through and I see Oscar Olsen on these episodes, he played his first NHL game, did he not?
Yeah, he did.
You
So
want to talk about it?
showbound bump there. I mean, it's crazy, honestly, man. Like to think how like far guys come from playing in the OHL one year to jumping up and like getting NHL games this year. Jean-Luc Foudy, another guy from the OHL, and guy who,
Robert Thomas, sorry to just jump in, another cup champ we've had on.
yeah, that's a major one too, and a star in the league now too.
Mhm.
You almost look over some of the guys that we had on early, some of that such a big name guys. So like if you're still listening to this episode, it means you're a fan and it means that you're a loyal listener. I guess you could say, and we really appreciate you if you're still listening. So if you missed the other episodes, go catch up on those because there's a lot of great players. We had Darren Dreger on too, one of
Mhm.
like Canada's biggest like hockey insiders. So if not the biggest. So yeah, like we've had some big names on, and as we approach 100, I think we got to try to bank a real good one for 100.
Yeah, we're gonna have a couple weeks to think about it. And we should get a big one for 100. Maybe we do like a double interview or something. We get creative, get crazy for 100. But while we're doing some showbound bumps, we did Dobbs already. Tyler Tucker played his first couple NHL games.
Right.
We had Logan Thompson, obviously. He was like rookie of the month in the NHL, so another showbound bump. I mean, honestly, there's probably a lot now that we've had 90 something guests. So anyway, we all know that good things happen to those who come on the Showbound podcast. So for the future guests listening out there, you'll probably want to come on. That's how we got Dolbs. He was a listener before he was a guest.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've had a few like that, guys just reaching out, being like, hey, listen. And I like it. And then sure enough, we connect and we have you on. So if you're listening and you think you might want to pop on, share some stories, share some laughs, it'd be a great time. But I don't know. We don't have too much for this back end. We talked a lot at the beginning, and I know you're busy. I'm busy. We both gotta kind of giddy up here. So I mean, what are you thinking?
I'm just happy we got this done. It's a day late, as we all know, but sometimes the schedules don't align, especially with so many moving parts with guests and us and our schedules. So we appreciate your patience for a day late episode, but you knew we were going to bring the heat if we're going to postpone it a day. So we're happy to get this one out there. And yeah, I'll flip it to you to wrap it up, Cards.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot it was a day late, so thanks for pointing that out. Now, yes, I'm glad we absolutely gave him a heater kind of. If we're gonna be a day late, yeah, we do have to make up for it and make sure it's a good one. So, I mean, going forward, if you see one's a day late, just expect it's a banger. Make sure you tune in, make sure you're listening. But with that being said, it's beautiful out. I'm sitting in Barrie, Ontario right now. I'm actually gonna go for a swim in the pool outside because my billets are keeping the pool open.
Is it warm? It's got to be pretty warm.
93. Is that good?
Oh, it's like a hot tub almost.
Heard of it, bud? It's incredible. So I'll be doing that. Gonna take a couple laps and then wind down for bed. Big weekend for myself. I know you're kind of just putting it in cruise control now. But yeah, I guess we'll touch base next week and kind of catch up on what we've missed. So that being said, we're signing over and out.